Jai Hind and welcome all of you to the chemistry class. Let us start a new chapter, the solid state. This is the first unit of part 1 chemistry textbook. You know, in our surrounding, matter is broadly classified into three types: solids, liquids, and gases. Now, we are going to study about solid state. First, general characteristics of solids. In solids, the particles are held together by strong intermolecular force of attraction. They have minimum intermolecular distance. Due to this, the particles are closely packed in solids. They have definite shape and volume, inability to flow, incompressible and rigid in nature. Next, classification of solids. On the basis of arrangement of constituent particles, solids are classified into two types: crystalline solids and amorphous solids. In crystalline solids, there is a regular arrangement of constituent particles. The constituent particles may be an atom or an ion or a molecule. While in amorphous solids, the particles are not in an ordered manner. That can be seen in the figure. In crystalline solid, ordered arrangement, and in amorphous solid, a disordered arrangement. You can see in the figure. Next, difference between crystalline and amorphous solids. First one, in crystalline solids, they have definite and regular arrangement of constituent particles. But in the case of amorphous solids, they do not have any regular arrangement of constituent particles. The second one is they have definite characteristic shapes. These are true solids, means always shows the above characteristics of a solid. But in the case of amorphous solids, they have irregular shape. They are known as pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids because, like liquids, amorphous solids have a tendency to flow very slowly. So, they are known as pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. The third one is, in crystalline solids, they have long range order of arrangement of particles. But in the case of amorphous solids, they have short range order of arrangement of particles. The fourth one is, in crystalline solids, they are anisotropic in nature. Note the word anisotropic. It means the physical properties like electrical resistance or refractive index show different values when measured along different directions in the same crystal. But in the case of amorphous solids, they are isotropic in nature. That means the physical properties are same in all directions. Fifth point is, in crystalline solids, they possess sharp melting point. For example, the melting point such as 20 degrees Celsius or 30 degrees Celsius. But in the case of amorphous solids, they do not possess sharp melting point. They melt over a certain range of temperature. That means 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. That is a range between the melting point. The sixth point is, in crystalline solids, when they cut it into two pieces by a sharp edged tool, then we get a smooth and plain surfaces. But in the case of amorphous solids, when they cut it into two pieces, then we get irregular surfaces. The last point is, in crystalline solids, they are rigid in nature, and in the case of amorphous solids, they are not rigid and can be distorted by applying pressure on it. Simply, you can write the differences in two columns like this. The important examples of amorphous solids are glass, plastic and rubber. These all are having a lot of importance in our daily lives. Then the amorphous silicon is used as a photovoltaic material used to convert sunlight to electricity. So, solids are classified into two types, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Example for crystalline solids are NaCl, KCl, quartz, etc. On the basis of intermolecular forces present in solids, they are classified into four types. First one is ionic solids, second one is covalent or network solids, third one is molecular solids, and the last one is metallic solids. In ionic solids, the particles are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction or ionic bonding. For example, NaCl, Na plus and Cl minus ions are attracted to each other through electrostatic force of attraction. Characteristics of ionic solids. They have high melting and boiling points. They are hard and brittle in nature. They are non-conductors of electricity in solid state. But in molten state or in aqueous solution, they conduct electricity because due to the presence of free ions. For example, NaCl is an insulator in solid state, but it conducts electricity in molten state or in aqueous solution because in molten state or in aqueous solution the Na plus and Cl minus ions become free, but in solid state Na plus ions attract strongly the Cl minus ions, hence the mobility of ions does not take place. Example for ionic solids are sodium chloride, cesium chloride, zinc sulfide, etc. The second crystalline solid is known as molecular solids. In molecular solids, the constituent particles are molecules. On the basis of intermolecular force of attraction, they are classified into three types. First one is non-polar molecular solids. Second one is polar molecular solids. And the third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. The first subdivision of molecular solids are non-polar molecular solids. In these molecular solids, the weak dispersion force or London force is present. For example, argon, carbon tetrachloride, hydrogen, iodine, carbon dioxide, etc. The next subdivision of molecular solids are polar molecular solids. In this, the force of attraction is dipole-dipole interaction. For example, hydrogen chloride, sulfur dioxide, etc. The third subdivision of molecular solids are hydrogen bonded molecular solids. In this, the force of attraction is hydrogen bonding. For example, ice and hydrogen fluoride. The important characteristics of molecular solids are they are generally soft in nature, act as insulator and have very low melting point. Next type of crystalline solids are metallic solids. In these metallic solids, the particles are held together by strong metallic bonding. What do you mean by metallic bonding? In the case of metals, the outermost shell electrons are loosely bound to one and they are considered as free. Then the center consists of positively charged ion which is attracted by the outermost loosely bound electron. This force of attraction is known as metallic bonding. This metal consists of positively charged metal ion in the sea of mobile or free electrons. Due to the presence of these free electrons, metals act as good conductors of heat and electricity. Example for metallic solids are magnesium, copper, iron, silver, etc. Characteristics they are malleable and ductile and they are conductors in solid state as well as in molten state. The last type of crystalline solids are covalent or network solids. In this covalent or network solids, the constituent particles are generally atoms. They are held together by strong covalent bonds, so the atoms are held very strongly at their positions. They are also called giant molecules. Such solids are hard and brittle in nature. They are generally insulators and do not conduct electricity. Examples are diamond, graphite, and quartz. You know, diamond and graphite are two allotropic forms of carbon. But diamond is the hardest natural substance known and acts as an insulator of electricity. This is because of its typical structure. Each carbon atom in diamond have 4 valence electrons. These 4 valence electrons are covalently bonded with neighboring carbon atoms, and this bonding is repeated to form a giant molecule. So due to the strong and directional covalent bond, it acts as hardest substance. But in the case of graphite, it is soft and a good conductor of electricity. Its exceptional properties are due to its typical structure. In graphite, each carbon atom has 4 valence electrons. Out of these 4 valence electrons, 3 of them are covalently bonded with the neighboring carbon atom. The fourth valence electrons of each carbon atom is present between the layers and it is free to move about. These free electrons make graphite a good conductor of electricity. Due to its hexagonal layered structure, one layer can slide over the other and hence it is soft in nature and used as a good solid lubricant. Generally, covalent solids have very high melting point also. So, the classification of crystalline solids are over. They are ionic solids, molecular solids, metallic solids and covalent or network solids. Thank you.